Apologies for a god-awful episode last week. Me, being the absolute buffoon that I am, decided to stay up until at least 11:30 p.m. last week. Binge-watched South Park and American Dad, obviously oblivious to the fact that I had work in the morning.
I watch Invaders Zim.
Oh, that's like fucking gangster shit. I downed 2 cups of coffee just to stop my brain from skipping off to some cheerful little fairy tale land. Anyway, welcome back to your go-to home for all things heavy metal and other forms of heavy music, Into the Pit, hosted by Riley Plunk and his homeless slave Billy Kingston, who should be grateful that I supplied him with decent clothing. Now for key.
I'm not homeless.
You're kinda homeless.
You're kind of homeless.
Shut up before I send you. Shut up before I send you back on the street again.
Okay.
Now, the key to a good radio-style podcast is to sneak in artists from completely different genres. Kind of like a musical Trojan horse. So later on you'll hear bands that are at least metal adjacent but not necessarily metal. One band I've surprisingly never played on the show is the creators of metal themselves, Black Sabbath. This is the track Hole in the Sky of the 1975 album Sabotage. You're listening to The Pit? The only satanic band to have not burned down churches in the 90s are Austin's bad for PR, especially if your PR survives on pennies and breadcrumbs, just like Billy. I have him enslaved, by the way. If you're a seasoned death metal veteran, that band should need no introduction. But for those who don't know, that was Immolation, adversary of the upcoming album The Suns, set to release next month. Immolation began in 1986 as Rigor Mortis, not to be confused with a thrash band, a fledgling New York death metal outfit struggling with lineup shifts. When Ross Dillon joined on bass and vocals, his intensity reshaped their sound and vision, prompting the name change. This marks the birth of their signature dissonant riffs, crushing rhythms, and bleak aesthetic, an approach that would define the city's early death metal scene. And when Immolation finally signed with Roadrunner Records, there was no dramatic blood ritual or dog sacrificial ceremony, just pizza. The band gathered at guitarist Robert Fickner's house, joking about signing in blood while actually scrawling the names in ink. A mundane but oddly fitting celebration for a group whose music could level cities. And your mom. It was a quiet, almost absurd moment amid a career defined by chaos, riffs, and dissonant intensity. Before that, Black Sabbath with Hole in the Sky off the 1975 album Sabotage. You're listening to Into the Pit, and it's time for our Album of the Week breakdown. And this week, it's none other than Houses of the Unholy by Church of Misery. Recruiting Church of Misery formed in 1995 in Tokyo when bassist Tatsu Mikami, fresh from his thrash band Selim, wanted to channel the slow, crushing riffs of 1970s doom metal legends. Recruiting guitarist Tomohiro Nishimura, drummer Hideki Shimizu, and vocalist Kazuhiro Asayeda. They fused psychedelic heaviness with true crime obsessions, quickly building a cold underground following even before the debut album. Houses of the Unholy stands out because its lyrics are brutally bleak and sinister, even by doom metal standards, yet threaded with darkly twisted humor that makes the despair almost entertaining, to put it lightly, especially with tracks such as Shotgun Boogie, which by the way is about James Herberty, who fatally shot 22 people, including an unborn baby. And
Who the fuck is that guy?
you find out, and wounded 19 people inside of a McDonald's of all places, before he was killed by a. I'm not loving it.
I'm not loving it.
Especially when some guy just casually shoots me in the neck while I'm trying to eat my Big Mac.
The average McDonald's day.
The average McDonald's day in America.
It's about as good as the big. Hey, it's about as good as the Big Arch.
Hey, back off. The Big Arch is actually decent.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure.
Even the CEO of McDonald's disagrees with you.
Well, the CEO of McDonald's is a whore, Billy. A big, fat whore.
Okay.
Before he was killed by a police sniper almost an hour after he opened fire. The riffs are heavily sludge metal influenced, bouncy, and catchy as all living hell. I swear the fuck, If you don't dance to Born and Raised Hell, not to be confused with a Metalhead song, Richard Speck, you're a species from another planet entirely. Or you just simply disagree with me, even though I am objectively correct.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Billy. If you keep this up, you'll be getting paid 1 breadcrumb this episode. And no pennies. Somehow, they also carry a cartoony vibe reminiscent of Looney Tunes. If you'll remember how racist Looney Tunes was, then you're a real one. Only amplified by the production that's loud, dense, and bold, albeit heavily compressed and occasionally a bit sterile. The vocals are also stuffy, gritty, and hoarse, almost as if he'd been battling a cold for 3 months, or possibly some unknown contagious disease. And thought, nah, fuck it, I'm risking near death if that's what the people want. All while ignoring his 3 doctors who might have actually been smaller than him. For most, it's debatable on whether this band is actually metal or not. But just because something isn't technically metal doesn't mean it doesn't rule. This is Mr.
Bugle, yeah!
Holy shit! Justified reaction, Mr. Bungle rules. This is Mr. Bungle, the air-conditioned nightmare of the 2000 album, California.
Oh crap, I misspelled that as bugle.
Bugle? What's that, like a dog breed?
I just thought that's what the band was called.
That actually sounds like a pretty good slang for a bull sack, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
This is Mr. Bungle, the air-conditioned nightmare of the 2000 album, California. You're listening to a Pale Friday Punk.
Inside of you today, there is no one, only us two words in empty space. Always. sledgehammers of truth. Pound the iron heart of sin. Bloody smiling, realizing one weapon dream is trying up. Suicide.
You know how, actually, well, what I was about to say might have gonna be cancelled just then. That was some 80s doom metal from the legends themselves, Saint Vitus. White Magic, Black Magic off the 1984 self-titled debut album. In the early 80s, Saint Vitus was such an odd fit for Los Angeles that punk promoters often didn't know what to do with them. They were slow, heavy, and bleak, while the crowds wanted speed and aggression. Vitus would get thrown on the bills of hardcore just because someone needed to feel a slord, and the audiences usually didn't know whether to laugh, heckle, or leave. Somehow, that confusion only made the band dig in harder, cementing their stubborn, uncompromising identity. On one early tour with Black Flag, Saint Vitus got a brutal welcome. Hardcore crowds are used to speed and chaos, not crawling, crushing riffs. And some fans reacted by spitting or throwing things on stage. It could have broken most bands, but Vitus just kept playing, letting the riffs drag and the feedback build, turning hostility into fuel for the signature slow, oppressive sound. Before that, Mr. Bungle with the air-conditioned Nightmare off the 2000 album. Sorry, I accidentally wrote 1999 on this script. California. You're listening to Into the Pit with Riley Punk, and it's time for... Wait, where was I? You're listening to Into the Pit with Riley Punk, and it's time for a debate segment of the program. And this one might divide people. Might not. You never know. Was the controversy around Mayhem's early black metal scene a form of artistic expression or criminal infamy? As always, post your answer in the comments, but don't just drop a yes or no. Make sure you actually explain your reasoning. We're gonna take a break from metal for now to dive into some awesome electro-industrial that's at least metal adjacent. And right now we're gonna spin a track from King Yusuf's new album, Spire of Fear. This one's called Glimmer. a genre for band called Daft Pop, though it's really industrial with a heavy synthwave influence. Liars. Yeah, a metalhead knowing about other music genres. Humanity might not survive this. That was a duo out of Sydney named Vows. That track is called Pulls Me Apart off the latest album, I'll Fill Your House with an Army. Couldn't really find much on this band other than the fact that their latest album was co-produced by Billy Holiday from A Perfect Circle, and featuring Josh Freese and Monkey of Korn fame. Also, they've toured with other legendary nu metal acts like Deftones over the years, and are now based in Los Angeles, which is cool, I guess. Before that, Keen Yosef with Glimmer of his latest album, Spire of Fear. That one featuring post-rock / metal crew Holy Thorn. You're listening to Into the Pit with Wally Punk, and it's time for a Metal Mythbusters segment. And this one's truly one of the greatest of all time. Just like how Freddy Got Fingered is one of the biggest cinematic masterpieces known to man.
That is a bold claim.
It is a true claim, Billy. Daddy, would
No,
you like
it
the
isn't.
sausage?
No,
Daddy,
it-
would you like the sausages? That alone could rival any scene in Titanic.
You're right. It actually does.
It's such...
Actually, Freddy Got Fingered is actually better than the Titanic.
It's actually better than fucking Godfather.
Yeah, it's like the greatest film of all time.
W. Tom Green. W. Tom Green.
No, actually, the greatest film of all time. I'm not gonna say it, but I really love Tim Burton movies.
The greatest movie of all time is an amateurish animation that third grader drew when he was born and had nothing else to do.
Actually, the greatest film of all time is Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Beat that.
Shrek carries on a stretcher any day of the week. Especially with his massive ogre tits and stuff. Anyway, Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Before that, Keen Yos... Oh, crap. And this one's truly one of the greatest of all time. In the mid-2000s, black metal band Velvet Cocoon's main member, Josh Jenkins, claims they recorded guitars using a mysterious instrument called a diesel harp. Supposedly a device that routed guitar signals through a diesel engine or mechanical system to create the watery, distorted sound. Here's what we do know. The diesel harp was described by the band as a strange, homemade device that supposedly ran guitar signals through mechanical components, rumored to include a diesel engine and vibrating metal parts. The idea was that the engine's vibrations, electrical interference, and mechanical resonance would warp the sound into the thick, watery, almost otherworldly textures heard on the recordings, giving Velvet Cocoon its signature murky atmosphere. And the band spread a string of hoaxes, claiming ties to the obscure Les Legion's Noise, releasing fake demos under invented band names, and fabricating much of her early history. These myths were part of a deliberate effort to mystify the band and troll the underground scene. But believe it or not, I have a girlfriend. What? No, kidding. Here's when it gets tricky. Josh Jenkins had a knack for blurring reality and fiction. He dropped tiny, believable details. A real demo here, a legitimate tour then layer them with wild claims like the Diesel Harp or connections to secret fake black metal circles. It made fans constantly second guess what was true, turning it into some sort of cat and mouse game within the realm of black metal. And the band's music itself is distinctive, to put it lightly. It sounds like it was produced in the middle of a snowstorm and a hurricane happening at the same time, with the band somehow surviving both. But here's the reality, unfortunately, as cool as it would be to have a Diesel Harp, I have to bring you back to reality. Another band member admitted that the whole thing was completely fabricated and had revealed that they had been trolling the whole black metal scene all this time. And the whole thing was more of a test, well, more of a mockery, to see how easily the scene believed such extreme myths. Final verdict? False. Leaving you tonight with another band that's more on the industrial side, but leaning towards the metal adjacent side edge of industrial. Black Magnet. Better Than Love of the 2025 album Mega Mantra.
They call it Black Magnet because it's a black magnet. They don't call it White Magnet because it's not a white magnet.
And they call it Black Magnet despite the fact that the lead singer is actually white.
Okay, I'll just play this song. Because,
Damn, there goes all monetization.
well, there goes our show, and
There goes our show. We're going to be hated by various communities across the globe. Worth it? No.
but
But at least Billy will get paid. Via dirty fast food containers I found on the ground. So
okay,
eat up, Billy.
I don't want to eat.
Eat the food. You're eating the food off the
wanna.
McDonald's ground, and that's
I
final.
don't wanna.
Do it.
I don't wanna.
Do it.
I don't wanna.
Do it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate the support. And I'll be here same time, same place next week. Catch you later.
Memory, programs, pain, identity. I crush
Okay, Billy, since you've been such a good co-worker this episode, your reward is either a 5-year-old Big Mac that's been sitting in the sun for the past 5 years, or a copy of the B movie with multiple scratches at the back of the disc. You have to pick one or the other. No, none?
The 5-year-old Big Mac.
Not the choice I was expecting from him, but whatever. I would have gone with the movie myself.
Oh, wait. Actually, just the B. Actually, the B movie, because it's a 5-year-old burger, and it probably has.
The 5-year-old burger has fecal matter on it, by the way. I wouldn't touch it if I was you.
Why is there fecal matter?
Well, this fat guy just came into. This fat guy just came into the McDonald's one day. Took a big load on a Big Mac. So McDonald's has just locked it up in a vault ever since. Yeah,
That's all, folks.
Yeah, that's all, folks. Let's leave it there. Catch you next week.
Bye. That is all, folks.
I need
That is all.
I need mental help.